Hey, and welcome back to Watertown365. We have information about the city of Watertown and Jefferson County starting to recover after several days of heavy lake effect snow and high winds. Watertown's main avenue shelter will stay open with no closing date in view. Travel bans have been lifted, but driving conditions are still hazardous. So let's jump in and let's talk about some of these things that there is to talk about, beginning with that Watertown, Jefferson County, and parts of St. Lawrence are battling dire blizzard conditions. The city of Watertown and Jefferson County are starting to recover Monday after several days of heavy lake effect snow and high winds. The National Weather Service reports 41 inches of snow have fallen since Friday in the city of Watertown and in Henderson Harbor on Lake Ontario. Copenhagen in Lewis County got 30 inches. And a winter storm warning remains in effect for all of Jefferson and Lewis counties until Tuesday at 1 p.m. Officials downgraded travel bans in all three counties into travel advisories on Monday. Jefferson County is urging no necessary travel. Blowing and drifting snow and high snowbanks will continue to impede visibility. And you should probably, you could not see 3 or 4 houses down the street. And for the city, that's unusual. Seldom do you see the lake effect go far that north. And many at this point they're using snowmobiles, ATVs, and tracked vehicles to rescue motorists who are stranded. That's the sheriff's office. Several thousand people were without power at different points during the storm, including all of Wellesley Island and Grindstone Island, and some other islands were expected to have power restored by Monday night. The lake effect snow is finally expected to weaken on Tuesday afternoon, and temperatures later in the week could reach the upper 40s, which could cause a risk of localized flooding due to rapid snowmelt. And then let's turn our attention to Watertown's main avenue shelter, which will likely stay open indefinitely as officials continue to search for solutions to the county's housing shortage. And so the plan was to start closing the temporary shelter this week, but once the Christmas weekend storm was over and once temperatures began to rise again, that was the plan, to close it down. But it's likely not possible with more than 20 people using the shelter on a daily basis. And there's some difference of opinion among county officials and policymakers on how to address homelessness and housing insecurity. But the man in charge of this, legislator Anthony J. Doldo, who represents the northwest part of the city, which is where the shelter is, and he heads the Health and Human Services Committee, says that he's unwilling to close down the shelter until a comparable solution has been found for the residents. One of the residents who was there when the shelter first opened has been placed at the High Street apartment complex that recently reopened, and other people have been saying that the shelter, when it first opened mid-November after a winter storm, are in contact with local agencies and non-profit groups to connect with services. But they are highly unlikely to find care for every single person using the temporary shelter. Some people simply don't want to accept services or assistance beyond what the shelter offers, but many people do, and the shelter has provided a chance to earn some trust among the homeless population staying there. More open housing units are needed to house the people at the temporary shelter, and more housing projects are in the work for Jefferson County. Transitional Living Services, for example, is ready to open an 18-bed short-term housing facility on Pine Street, and there is state funding for permanent housing construction, which is a long process of building more facilities, but all these things take time, and for now, the main avenue shelter will remain open as needed. And so let's next talk about these travel bans being lifted, but driving conditions are still hazardous. So those travel bans in Jefferson, Lewis, and St. Lawrence counties have all been lifted as driving conditions in the North Country remain treacherous due to the winter storm. So Jefferson lifted its ban on Monday morning, but saying no unnecessary travel in place of the outright ban. And conditions Monday were clearer than the weekend for most of the North Country. So the snow mainly was focused in Watertown and North Jefferson County on Monday. And there was a band moving north through Watertown, Clayton, Alexandria Bay, and Governor across the St. Lawrence River and into southern Ontario. But southern Jefferson County and Lewis County saw very little snow Monday. Snow shoveling can be a very physically demanding job, especially with the volume of snow on the ground after this storm. And older folks, those with medical conditions, and even healthy people should be very aware of how they are feeling while shoveling and take extra steps to keep warm in the below freezing temperatures. Luckily, there have been no fatalities in Jefferson County as far as the people are aware of, and the cleanup is a significant undertaking, but it isn't unfamiliar to the North Country in the slightest. And that sudden onset of the storm on Friday, with conditions literally worsening by the second, meant many motorists were trapped on county roads. They couldn't even guess how many had been stranded over the weekend, but law enforcement and emergency services were working hard to get those people and get them safe. And so the 911 dispatchers and first responders all did their jobs, and some people left their homes to answer calls and dispatch people to keep the chaos under as much control as possible. Now, speaking of getting things under control, let's talk about your eyesight, and let's talk about Perry Optical over there on Arsenal Street. That is, if it's necessary or whenever you're ready to brave those roads. When you feel some pain in your eyes and you can't see clearly, then you need to pay your eye doctor a visit. Wondering where to find a quality eye care service in Jefferson County? Well, look at PerryOpticalNY.com. The Perry Optical team has been helping the North Country see better for more than 30 years. Perry Optical is catering to families and individuals specializing in patients with special needs and clients who may be hard to fit for glasses or contacts. That is Perry Optical Vision Center 2 at 1125 Arsenal Street, Watertown, New York. Open Monday through Friday 9 to 5, Saturday 9 to 12. PerryOpticalNY.com. You can go there and find out all about Michelle, Dr. Metzler, Dr. DeTota, and staff who have been helping the North Country see better for more than 30 years. Next up, we are talking about the Sackett's Harbor Ballroom, and don't you dare put an apostrophe on that, right? Or do you put it up? Yeah, you do put an apostrophe. Okay. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Someone in the Facebook page was saying that, see this? So they were saying that you should not put an apostrophe in Sackett's Harbor. It's not that Sackett owns the harbor. It is named after Augustus Sackett, but it's Sackett's Harbor without an apostrophe. And even the logo messed up there, but the Facebook page has it right. So apparently, according to one of the commenters, it's Sackett's Harbor Ballroom with no apostrophe. But the good news is, and actually a news that matters, not where an apostrophe goes, but it was remodeled and refurbished in 2018. It's an event venue that provides you with a marvelous atmosphere to hold your event, whether it be a wedding, reception, meeting, educational event, family celebration, or Christmas party. Sackett's Harbor offers a unique, clean, accessible, and affordable facility to hold your public or private event. They are your one-stop shop destination for any event requirement. Go to SackettsHarborBallroom.com. They are located at 103 West Main Street, Sackett's Harbor, New York. But you go to the website, you get all the information that you need in one convenient place. Speaking of websites, Watertown365. That's where you want you to go. That is where you can get up to date on all sorts of news, such as even things that happen all around the world about specific gut bacteria extract more energy, which seems to be associated with obesity. 5 U.S. states are repaving roads with plastic waste. There are care home residents surprised by festive penguins. The main Avenue shelter will stay open. We covered that one. Festive seniors build a Christmas tree made of Legos. And roads could get icy as that Arctic blast arrives. and that blizzard continuing on Sunday. And how about this to cap it all off? A raccoon in the city of Watertown is reported to have rabies. So never a dull moment. Go to Watertown365 and stay up to date on that news. You can click over to our Facebook page here. And I thought I was logged in until this very moment. So we'll make sure to log in for a second and see what's happening on the Facebook page, and then we will see you next week, and we will see you in the year 2023, as long as it allows me to click through. All right, we're clicking through, and there's that good old Sackets Harbor with an apostrophe, and Sackets does not have an apostrophe. Spell check is working overtime, so tell your friends. Next on this Facebook page here, let's see about the quack article. So someone doesn't like the gut bacteria article. That's totally fine. Over at the Bad Apple Saloon Daily, creamy prime rib soup, barbecue chicken mac and cheese, chili cheese loaded Sidewinder fries, fried green BLT hoagie, and a Southwest grilled chicken wrap. So you can click over to the Bad Apple Saloon. They are over at 545 Arsenal Street, Bad Apple Saloon, Watertown.com. And I also lost my place on the Facebook page, so one last look for any last minute commenters. People are there. We do get likes, just not a lot of comments. So you can always go to this Facebook page, and if you have something to weigh in, then we'll read your comments on the air. But right now it looks like a lot of reacts, right? Wows and laughs and likes, which is totally okay. But you can always go to facebook.com/Watertown365 to post some of those fun comments that we can read here. But in the meantime, we'll see you next week and next year for Watertown 365. So stay safe out there in the storm. Watertown365.com. Bye for now.